All right, hello. And I am so pleased to welcome Brooke Leary and Glenn Chitty, recent graduates of the BFA Musical Theater program at the University at Buffalo. Welcome.
Hello.
Oh,
I would love to begin with each of you telling us a little bit about your college audition process and what brought you to choose Buffalo. Maybe Brooke?
Yeah. So going into the college audition process, I really did not know what I was in for. I honestly only auditioned for places that were super local. I did New York places like Fredonia, Ithaca, Pace, WestCon, which is Connecticut but close, and Buffalo. And so I kept it kind of like a small net. But looking back, if I could recommend anything, I'd say broaden your net, try everything, see what you can get. And I ended up getting University of Buffalo and Hofstra. Hofstra was a BA program. University of Buffalo was a BFA program. So I kind of figured the BFA would probably be a little bit more helpful for me. And yeah, the professors there, when I talked to them, seemed really nice. They told me about how up and coming the Buffalo theater scene was, and that there would be a lot of opportunities to like audition for stuff outside of school. Uh, uh, uh,
Mm, You're a little frozen there, Brooke. Hmm. I'm not sure if she knows, but she's frozen. Okay, well, maybe why she's figuring that out. Oh, there you are, Brooke. You're back.
Sorry.
You froze for us.
Yes. What was your question?
Um, so we got as far as the theater locally around Buffalo, and that there
Yes.
would be opportunities there for it.
Yeah. So when I found out about that, I thought there was good classes that UB was offering. I decided that it would be a good fit for me. So that's how I chose UB. It kind of chose me too.
All right, good, good. Great. And Glenn, are you there?
sorry, I had to throw another light on. I was shrouded in darkness, and
I saw
I didn't
that.
want my vibes, so I decided to lighten things up. So yeah, so I guess I'll start with my audition process feels, looking back, it feels very unorthodox. If anyone wants to know what saved my audition process, it was Joanne Fenton. It was November. It was 2 months before any audition had started for me in my timeline. So I was really good friends with Jessica Soretta and Griffin Welty, and they were like my peers, and Luke Smoody. We were all going through the senior year theater thing, and they were pursuing musical theater, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. But then they were talking so much about it that I was like, maybe I should do that. So then Joanne got a very frantic text that was like, okay, what if? I know you texted me 3 months ago asking if this is a thing I was going to consider. What if I did consider it in the midnight hour of this whole thing? So we very quickly got together my 32 bar cuts, easy to love, and I think I like her. They're hits. They're really
Yeah.
so I did that. I think I auditioned for 7 schools, 7 or 8 schools. Similar to Brooke, I went to Unifieds though, so I did
I was going to say you did unifieds.
yeah, I did Unifieds as well. Also did the Combines thing where they have 6 schools behind one table.
Yeah, I don't think that's interesting now because I don't know if they do that anymore or was that what has now become the Pittsburgh Unified where
Mm.
you go and audition in front of like all these schools at once.
Yeah.
Um, that was one of those I was wondering about that because I never saw that combined again.
It was very crazy. I mean, it was like 15 people behind one table. It was very
Yeah.
scary, but I was naive enough to not know that that was extremely scary. I think that was to my benefit at the time. But so I did all the auditions. I auditioned for Cortland in New York City at the Unifieds. Um, I forget which other appointments I had for that. It was a lot of walk-ins, but then I did UB. I went to UB. So I went for a long weekend. I did Fredonia on Saturday and UB on Friday. So
Mhm.
very quick doubleheader. So it's just so far away from here, and it's like 5.5 hours. So we did the hotel thing and we went. So I did that, and yes, similar to Brooke, they talked a lot about the burgeoning like theater thing. Like professional theater in Buffalo is a thing that happens that is quickly and easily accessible to students because many of the faculty now are heavily intertwined with what's going on professionally. One of the dance professors, Michael D. Weaver, has cast me several times in my during college, post college. His husband, Eric D. Weaver, is a big director in the town. I was cast as Jack Kelly in Newsies because I knew Michael and Eric, and it was all from my connections at UB. So that was at that was on like that was it. So that was it's very easy to get that professional thing like Brooke was just talking about. But yes and yes. And the oh go ahead, yes.
I
And
was going to ask, and this is probably both of you because I know that you've both worked in the theaters around Buffalo. So you were saying that you did that both in school as well as like after school. Is that like in school, like in semester or summers in between, or both?
um for me, it was both. I did a summer show. I did Music Man over the summer, but then I did White Christmas during the winter. So that was just overlapping with, we did rehearsals in November. So it was just as our fall musical ended, I started rehearsals for White Christmas at a theater nearby. Yeah. And I think maybe rehearsals started for the producers right 3 weeks before was going to graduate. I started rehearsals for the producers, which was a summer show. So.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you can easily kind of make that work in your schedule.
Yeah.
And is
Yeah.
that one theater or there's like several of them in the area?
Uh, there's probably 15, 15 to 18
Oh, wow.
that are,
Yeah. There's a lot of theaters, honestly, around that are paying. It's
Mhm.
not just community theater. You're actually getting paid. Um, we were able to do shows. I did shows while I was still in college too. I was in White Christmas with Glenn. I did a Charlie Brown Christmas. But as long as you got your 3 credits, I believe it's still you need three, right, Glenn?
something 3 or 4 performance credits.
Performance credits. As long as you got those and you were able to work your schedules together, it's not impossible.
Hmm. All right, that's good to know. So then, um, this kind of like leads me to this question about how many productions a year are done at Buffalo. And if you don't get, like, does everyone get in them? Or if you don't, could you do some of the other community theater for the students to like be able to perform if they don't make it into a main stage?
Yeah. So there's the main stage musicals.
Hmm.
There's per semester, main stage musical, a play, and the student directed
Okay.
series. There's also a student directed show. Um, there are like a cappella groups, so like a lot of other like creative things to do, but I think those are the main like performance things, student directed musical play.
Yeah, they're slowly introducing an annual concert that happens in January, which is my senior year it was Sondheim. Last year it was Ahrens and Flaherty. I think the year before it was Candor and Ebb, but that's another tried and true one. They're trying to uh, institute institute. I hope that's the right word. No one checked on that. But they're also the student directed series. It's a department funded production, so students are able to have a bit of a budget. I think it's 3 shows per semester that are not considered department, like it's not directed by an instructor or a guest director or things like that. So usually what it'll be in the fall, we have a black box theater and a main stage theater, which is the drama stage. And there'll be a musical in the main stage and a play in the black box. And then the next semester you switch. So then you'll do a black box musical and then a drama stage full production.
I see. Okay. And then the student directed pieces are black
That
box, I'm assuming.
that happens at the KCT. So that's a UB is such a gigantic campus. It's in the Ellicott complex, which is where student housing is, one of the student housing complexes. It's a gigantic thing. It's like made of concrete, super intimidating, but it's very cool because inside it's like a completely wooden theater that has gigantic risers. It's I'd say it's a pretty big theater. I think it's four maybe 400 is too big. Maybe 300, maybe 299, but it's on risers. It's sort of a space that invites uh, uh unorthodox, there's that word again. It invites those kinds of productions, so that's where the concerts happen. It's a very resonant space. But it's also where our acting courses mainly take place. So that is the KCT. So that's our offsite. It's not exactly the department place, but we've got hung lights and all those good things.
Nice.
Mhm.
Great. How many, I mean, Buffalo is huge. How many kids are on that campus? Is that a 40,000? Is that
I
30.
looked it up.
30? Okay.
30 to 32,000.
Okay. Okay. Um, and in your class, and I know that number is starting to change, but how many were in each of your classes?
Well, it definitely has changed. Mine was, I think, 10 people, super duper small.
Okay.
Now it is growing a lot bigger. Glenn, do you know about how many they're accepting now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it says that they're looking at 20 to 35 freshmen coming in next year. But eventually, so it sounds like James, who is the new head, James
Beaudry.
Beaudry.
Bowdry, he is trying to build the program. So I think that they're trying to take in a large freshman class, but eventually get to about 20 per year,
Yes.
Hmm.
from my understanding. So okay, so that's how many did you had a really small class, Glenn, didn't you?
I think it was like, yeah, probably 10 or 11. It was also, since it was COVID time, the year after me was the 2021 year, so we had three incoming and two people dropped. So it was one. And then we had people transfer from different schools. So we had Sophia Vasecchia transferred from a school. Other people, this happens in a lot of programs. People can become acting majors and then audition to be in the musical theater program. That happened too. So I think by the end of their time graduating, they did have seven students, but it was a dark sophomore year for that one.
Hmm.
Also, I don't think we noted yet when Brooke and I entered the program, it was under different leadership. We had a different head of the program and a different primary music person. So by the time I was a junior, both of those people had been changed out. And that is when James came in and Matt Marco, who is our primary musicianship, music director person. So I just so you know, that's why we keep where changes and things are moving in a new direction. That is what that is born from.
Yes, that is, and that's really important because I just kind of found out about that, and you were kind enough to speak with him and send us all this new information, which is important because I love that when a program is changing and evolving and building. It's a great time to kind of get on board and see what they have.
Hmm.
So what I wanted to ask you guys, like moving into your experience. So I know like yes, there's a new head, but some things don't change all that much. And I love to talk about um, your curriculum there. So, like, as a freshman going in, what was your schedule like? Like, how was it divided among the class, your acting versus your gen ed, dance, singing? How did that work for you guys?
I feel old answering this question because I'm like, what did I take freshman year? But we definitely took like an introductory acting class, voice lessons every semester, um, introductory dance classes first semester, um, jazz. I don't think tap was the first semester or ballet. I think those came a little bit later,
Hmm.
but the program is evolving, so could be different. But yeah, basic dance, basic acting, basic singing, and then yes, we had to take gen eds, meet those science requirements, math, English, all the above.
Did you
Yeah.
take, was it one dance class like a semester or two? Do you remember? Or is that an option?
I
to
think it was
choose?
It,
it was a choose your own adventure, I think, at time.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the first semester is UB also as a university establishes that there's a seminar course you have to take as a freshman. There is time taken up by university requirements that limits what you are able to enroll in as freshmen. Also, freshmen aren't usually cast in the first semester show because auditions are always done at the end of the previous semester. So you do have that time to sort of acclimate. UB is also a gigantic campus, so part of learning how to be a person on the campus is a course in and of itself. If you get on the wrong bus, you will go to South Campus, and it is way. So you have to be wary of that. But yeah, intro to theater tech. Every semester you have to do a no. It's like you have 4 performance credits and 4 tech credits essentially. So you have to take the tech course to learn how to be a stagehand or learn how to. I did lighting board operation for 4 dance concerts, and that was my tech learning for my time there. So that it's all intro in that first semester for sure.
Okay. So, then do you remember, so you took like one dance class in your first semester of freshman year, and then the second semester, is it still one? Does it go to two? Or again, it's what you can fit in?
I mean, you really can make your own schedule. Like, you can choose to do up to like as many dance classes as you want, basically. There is now a dual major too for
Yeah.
dance and musical theater, which has been, I think, very popular. I think that's definitely for like dance first people for sure. I believe there's a dance minor. Glenn, you
Yes.
did that?
I pursued the dance minor, and then I got to my last semester and I had to take a teaching course. So I had to take that or take a course on music theory. And I was like, I'm going to take another music theory course. You can't know too much, can you? So most of a dance minor, but it's okay. I'll survive.
Yeah.
You'll be okay. That was one thing that I was reading actually about the school that, and I'm curious of your thoughts of it. You know, a lot of times in the past, they said that the one nice thing about the University of Buffalo is even though it's a BFA, you can double major. Did you find, is that possible or is that, because I know in most BFA programs, it's near to impossible.
It To receive a BFA in dance and also a BFA in musical theater, you do have to be at the university for 5 years.
Okay.
That is when you have to decide you have to decide which when you're going to do the musical or when you'll do the dance concert. We have a Zodiac Dance Company, which is like our concert dance. I think I'm using the term concert dance correctly here. But so that is if you want the BFA. There is, I think in the email I sent you there, really pushing the BA in dance, BFA in musical theater in 4 years. That's a
Hmm.
thing they're also pushing. Um, I know less about that because it was less popular, less advocated for when I was there. I think that's a thing they're learning what the nuances with in terms of programming and what courses are overlapping between the majors and how to make that work in 4 years. So that is what I know about that. So
I also know like someone who got a major in history and also a major in musical theater. So it is possible at the school.
Were they able to do that in 4 years, Brooke, or it added?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I have heard more of that happening at University of Buffalo than I do in other schools. And I think that that's an important thing to point out. Like in some programs, it's just not possible. You'd have to go
Hmm.
5 years. And I think perhaps some summer because
Hmm.
the requirements are so high. It's a minimum of 18 credits. So where could you possibly fit
yeah,
in that other?
Yeah.
And the curriculum is so rigid at certain schools and conservatories that there's not that much wiggle room within. Like, yes, you could add a dance class, but adding maybe a directing class or a communications class is going to be hard.
Yeah. It's definitely not an easy feat. Like I only can count maybe like 2 people that have done a dual major because they worked really, really, really hard for it. So it's definitely not like the curriculum for the BFA is easy.
No,
So you're gonna have to you're gonna have to like really kick it into high gear if you want to do that. But yeah.
But it is, there's a little more of choose your own path, as you were saying,
Yeah.
than I've seen in some other schools.
Mhm.
And that does open up to in your junior year. I find the most like your freshman and sophomore year are pretty more, they're more tightly packed because that's when you're taking your acting the song class, your method acting class, and the bulk of your introductory dance courses. They all have to be complete in those first 2 years for you to take secondary levels in your junior and senior year. So by that time, you should have a pretty good feeling of like, okay, I will never be the best ballet dancer. So I don't have to take ballet level 3 because I want to do the directing course. Or one of
Mhm.
our friends, Amanda Nierenberg, she's worked professionally as a stage manager because she took the stage management course, but she's a BFA musical theater major. So there is two there. You could lean into this or lean into that.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. Um, so what else do you like? How do you, tell me something about like Brooke, your, like your path when you went through there and like how it, the classes that you chose and how you added to your college education to make it more like well-rounded and to
Mhm.
serve you.
Sure. So going into school, I knew I needed more dance. So right off the bat, I was trying to get every single dance class that I could possibly grasp my hands on. And I was able to do that. Um, there is also something called Dancers Workshop at the school where we work with the dance majors and anyone, even people that aren't musical theater majors or acting majors. They can be biology majors. We all come together and we create a dance show that is choreographed by usually dance majors. And it's like just like a self produced show. So I was really able to grow artistically doing these dancers workshop shows.
Hmm.
Because I had never done really just a dance show before going into college. I'd always done musicals. So that was really good for me. I also wanted to take a bunch of different classes that had nothing to do with musical theater. I wanted to take science classes. I wanted to take English writing classes, poetry, stuff like that. And UB has such a broad range of different majors that you really can do whatever you want. I took also a bunch of education courses. I was like Glenn, this close to getting my education minor. I was one class off. So, yeah, you can kind of make whatever modge podge of different things you want to study for sure.
Great. What about you, Glenn?
Yeah, so the UB experience, it's kind of baked into it that you have to be a well-rounded individual because there's 3 columns of classes you have to take and you have to complete that are umbrella terms for different centers of study. So there's like a cultural capstone. There's you choose before you attend. You choose which one you're going to pursue. Uh, there's like there's like 7. It's kind of like having a zodiac sign. You can choose which one you want to pursue, and they will set you up so your classes that you are offered are more in line with maybe the I think I did a cultural significance one, but I took there was a foreign films class. There was gosh, I think I took a few different levels of English courses. The thing is, the names they almost sound like theses in and of themselves because they're like very specific. So it is like the written word in the Aztec Empire, or like the this. Or I took an archeo no, not an archaeology class. I took an anthropology course, and that was really interesting. So you can. I think this was about non-theater courses. So you that yes, there is a way. There are guidance counselors who know more, but it's built into the program that you are not just a person who can do a pirouette. You can also speak intelligently about something you might read or come to your own conclusions, whatever have you.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So I mean, I feel like if I'm recommending SUNY Buffalo, I'm looking for a student that yes, of course, loves theater, but also has other interests and is curious about the other pieces of this industry and how they can use it, whether it be education. I mean, I love the fact that you said that one of your classmates does stage management work. Um, and there's other is more interested in all the different venues out there rather than maybe a student who is just musical theater
Yeah.
Yeah.
24/7. Um, Good. All right. What about the housing? What's the housing like at SUNY Buffalo and how does that work? Because that's a big
Yeah.
school. Do they kick
Yes.
you out after two
Very,
years and
very
you got to
hard.
find an apartment or no?
So I think you can live in a dorm all 4 years if you really want to,
We have a
Hmm.
lot of
but oh,
we have a lot of international students, so that is a resource made ever available to any student.
mhm.
You can live there your whole life. It's expensive, but you can.
And what was your path with each? Did you obviously if everyone lives on campus freshman year.
Yeah. I went. I lived in Govs. Governor's Hall is freshman only dorm, so it's an isolated building that's just off of the spine. If you look at a map of UB, it'll say the spine. So I lived there my freshman year, and then sophomore year, it's very surrounding Buffalo. There's like a few major roads, and every construction company under the sun has developed an apartment complex. So there's one that's 1 minute away, or you can do the one that's 2 minutes away, or the 3 minute away one. They're all different, and they're resorts. Everyone has their own bathroom, four bed, four bath, laundry in unit. It's wild. You got your pool, you got your hot tub, you got your gym. It's
Wow.
all that's all in the off-campus housing, particularly. So that is usually, I think, I know the bulk of people do that next. So you live on campus your freshman year. You can pursue on-campus housing the next year, but if you have three close friends, you can go do that and live in those apartment housings nearby. I know Thomas O'Mara, not a musical theater person at all, went to UB, Cali as well. They lived near South Campus, and South Campus is where the Greek life really happens, but it does mean that there's a lot of many roomed houses. So the houses are they're way more inexpensive. You are 15 minutes from campus, North Campus, which is where the Center for the Arts is, which is where the bulk of your programming will happen. But if you have a car and you don't mind waking up 15 minutes earlier, that is the thing you can do for that price. But I stayed mainly right in North Campus. I didn't leave that North Campus area until I graduated. Then I lived in North Buffalo in a house that costs close to nothing.
Mm, yeah. Well, there's some advantages, I think. I mean, obviously the housing is cheaper. And I think we see this in a lot of schools, but then what do you do when you bring your car to campus? Is there parking or is that an additional fee to park?
I think they took away the fee. They used to. My first year, I had bought a pass, but then they took it away. But it is a major commuter school, so beware.
Yeah.
For the residence halls, you are fine to have your car. You can usually walk to class from a residence hall anyway, but beware because if you have to drive from campus, usually the CFA though is pretty fine. There's a back parking lot at the CFA that's never full because there's not as many people in the arts department, so you're benefited by that. So if you go to the sciences
It's
conference,
a secret.
be
Yeah.
secretive about it. Don't let anyone follow you there.
And if you don't have a car, because a lot of freshmen, can you have a car freshman year or no?
I don't think we were. I guess you could because there's commuters and stuff, but well, I didn't have a car.
None of my
Um,
none of
and
my
there was a bus that would take us from our dorms to North Campus.
Because it's a distance.
Yes. And it's
Yeah.
also very cold sometimes in Buffalo. So we'd line up in our big jackets to get on the bus. So you'd have to wake up a little bit early to make sure you get onto that bus so you don't
Mhm.
have to walk through the cold. But the campuses do have like tunnels, like
Yeah.
ways to get around because it does get so cold.
Oh, really? Huh.
So cold.
What a surprise. Um, so we talked about professional opportunities near the school. Can I ask you, How did they help prepare you for the whole summer stock adventure? That was, and did they encourage you to do it freshman year, or was it sort of like, let's concentrate more on that sophomore?
Mhm. The new faculty knows a lot more about summer stock and everything. James worked directly with summer stock theater. I think it was Timberlake
Timberlake?
Playhouse.
Like
Yes.
Um,
it's a long time.
yeah. So he knew how to give that advice, definitely
Mhm.
about summer stock, and definitely like go pursue it. We're extremely encouraged to do so.
Yeah, the primary course for that information happens later in your time at UB. It's called Music Theater Workshop. I don't know if it's called. It might have been changed. I think I just looked at the course directory that James sent in that email, and I
Mhm.
think they might have changed some of the wording, but it is a course that is specifically for mock auditions, mock interviews, book building, resume building, reel building, all of the professional things that go into having a summer stock package are talked about in that course. When Brooke and I were freshmen, though, it was COVID times. So I can't say for sure that they were like, go do the summer stock thing that year because it was 2021 for me.
Yeah, things were a little different,
So
but
it's kind of there was less urgency to go out and do it then. But oh yeah, but my sophomore year we went to Nazareth University. Brooke, I think we carpooled. We went to Nazareth University for the
yeah,
A1 pre-screen, and then and then a few of us went down to I think it was at Ryder. It was at Ryder. We went and got an Airbnb near Ryder and did the A1 thing. So, period.
Okay. All right. How about, since we're kind of on that topic, what was your showcase like at senior year? I know it's changed a little bit now, but for you, what did it look like when you were there at Buffalo?
well, we don't have to talk about me much because we didn't have it established yet when I was there.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
James was kind enough to send some of our stuff out to
Okay.
people he thought would be interested, but Glenn, please talk more.
I also didn't have a senior showcase.
Oh,
It was also a thing that was just being developed when I was a senior. So, the closest thing we had to that was we had one agent come. It was Dave Secor from the Daniel Hoff agency. He came and did a workshop day with us, and we all got to sing in front of him and hear feedback on what we were presenting. But now there's the real building experience of having a showcase. It happens on campus at UB. Um, I know little more than what I've just spoken out loud to you about that. So that would be something I would ask about it. If you do meet,
Yeah, it says here, that they're now do filmed and edited reels for agent submissions, recorded in front of a live audience on campus, and it both for acting and MT majors. And that's kind of a nice thing because then you can use that towards your reel
Mhm.
mhm.
as well. Did they do a little bit of reel work with you guys, or was that again stuff that you just kind of did on your own at the time?
They during our musical theater workshop class, which Glenn was talking about a little bit,
Hmm.
they definitely gave us a ton of advice on how to do it. We could always send in a reel to one of our professors and they would like give us advice on anything. Nowadays, I think they're probably a bit more proficient on it because that's what the world is right now. It's all reels.
Sure.
So I believe they're probably doing a lot more now.
We also have a
Yeah.
tape studio now. So
Mhm.
there's a room that you can go to. It has the big lights. I think it's very similar to the ones that you have, Joanne, the big ones.
Yeah.
But like the actual whew, and then the big blue backdrop. And I think they had a speaker at the time, but it's a place that you can go to look super fresh.
Yeah, and you can also use the studios if you like rent them out. You can sign them out to record dance too.
Mhm.
Nice. And so I guess a nice question that I would love is like, personally, what is one of the best things that you feel you got from the program?
Do you want to go
It might
first,
be a
Glenn?
couple things, but
Um, Mine is kind of twofold. UB is a it's a flagship A1 university, which is said at every big student day I've attended. It essentially means that they prioritize research and they prioritize how quickly you as a student can get information. So the library of University of Buffalo is it is so wild. The amount of things that they have access to, it is insane. But even better than that, if you I don't know if they still have a designated music librarian, but they did when I was there. They've since relocated some of where the literature is, so uh, I don't know, they might have shifted that around. But you can email the music librarian and be like, "There's this really cool book that was published in 2025. Can you get that book?" And I got one like 3 weeks later, and it was just like it was great. It was like music theater for actors, so it was using only musical theater examples, which was super nice. Um, so I love that. I think that's really cool that you can. It's all on your laptop. You have it. The database is just as long as you have a student login, you have the database. But the most important thing, my favorite thing, is that I never felt like I didn't have a rehearsal space. I'm a night owl. I was a night owl, especially at school, but it would be like 8 o'clock and I'd be sitting in my dorm and I'd be like, man, wish I could go dance right now. And I could. I would go to the CFA and I knew the code to get the key and I would get the key and put it in the lock. So there's like it's a dance studio. So you can use the dance studio. This dance studio I'm talking about is not in the dance wing. It is in a secluded area that you will know about as a person who goes to school there. I won't try to explain it here, but you will know. I loved that studio. It was the best. I felt like I grew the most doing the work outside of the room, but the fact that I even had that space to practice with a mirror, with the Marley, with whatever shoe I needed in the moment, I felt like that was my favorite time of all time. So that is my favorite.
I love that. And what's interesting is because obviously I did teach you, so I knew you, and I always remember. I think we talked about this, and you'd be jumping around and doing stuff and like in the shows, and I'd be like, I think he can dance. I feel like Glenn can really dance, and I love that you went there and you got all this dance, like you almost had a minor in it,
Yeah.
and that one of your favorite safe spaces was a dance studio.
It's very shocking. I remember because I was playing a lot of guitar my freshman year, and then I like put the guitar down one day and was like, "Glenn, you can't do a pirouette, and you're a musical theater major." And I was at that studio every day, and now I can do a double. I can maybe
This boy can dance.
if I meditate, maybe I can do a triple. Ooh, I'm like, that is so bad. So I feel like a completely different person when it comes to how I'm approaching dance, how I feel about it, and how to break it down for myself because I got to, in that space, learn what my translation of dance was as a person who came to it quite later.
Because you were really, I don't know, singer actor first, if I would categorize you. You were very strong at both of those. So um, it's nice to know that now you really seeing yourself as a dancer as well.
I do feel more fledged, so to speak. So,
That's so great. You actually said this really briefly about the Greek life that came up. And I think this is an interesting question because a lot of students, they want the full college experience. So a lot of them will pick a large university because they want the full experience and they want to be part of a Greek life. Now, traditionally, I tell my BFA students, it's probably not going to happen with your curriculum and the amount of performing and singing, but I don't know. What is it? What is the answer there at SUNY Buffalo?
Yeah, we had a ton, well, a handful of people who were also in sororities.
Mhm.
And they were also like leaders of the BFA. They were very strong students and they had time to do both and loved their Greek life at the same time. So yeah, definitely possible.
yes.
You felt the same way, but you didn't. None of you pledged
No.
or
No,
rushed. I guess it's
I
called.
wasn't that guy. Sorry.
All
Oh, Delta
right.
New. Delta New, new, new. Trying to get
All right, well that's something to know about. And the sports and all that, that's big at Buffalo. Is there a big campus life like Because a lot of times, again, students will go to a school and it's a commuter school. So it empties out and there's nothing to do on the weekends. This is not that school. Am I right?
No, there are so many clubs to join. Freshman year, I know we walked around like a ton of tables, people just being like, please join our club, environmental clubs, sports clubs, anything you could possibly want to do, you'll find people who also want to do that at UB.
Wow.
I will say not to I tried to do the clubs and I did not have much success. Particularly, I really wanted to be an improv club. I was like, oh, improv club would be so much fun. But because I had the great fortune of being a person who was cast in a show every semester, the rehearsal schedules do not invite extracurriculars because you put a show up quite quickly, you run it, and it's kind of over. So you you have to navigate that. It depends on what the needs of the club are. There are a million clubs though. And at times the campus feels like a small city.
Mhm.
If you don't go to UB in real life, it does feel like an isolated island, small city because it is everyone, all the people that have ever lived are apparently right there. So it is packed. They're always walking. They're always in and out. So it does feel like it's always got a small buzz of
Mhm.
human life. Sorry.
Did you find that like because with a big school there's a lot of great like there's a lot to do and it's busy like you said, but sometimes it can feel a little isolating because it's so big and sometimes hard to meet people. Did you feel like that struggle or was it a built-in sort of friend group because you were in the MT?
Yeah, because our major was so much smaller than a lot of the other majors, it was kind of like you spent all your time with these people, you had built-in friends. Um, Definitely could reach out to like other groups, like with different classes and everything, but I think we all kind of tended to hang out with each other.
Mhm. Did you room with MT majors?
My freshman year, I did not because I was terrified of having to see everyone all day and then also like live in the same room as them. But then I did end up rooming with another MT major in an apartment, and then later I actually rented a house with two other MT majors for my last 2 years.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, 100% what Brooke said. Also, I think it might have been a product of the COVID times that our I was in Gov's Hall and I think it was maybe not filled to capacity, but everyone would hang out because we were all, deprived of socialization because there were less people on campus. But yeah, yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, if you're a musical theater person, I don't know if it's an incorrect assumption to assume you have a leg up at times in social interactions. So it, I think you can make your way. If you are pursuing it, if you are putting any effort into it, I think it is something that will give back to you. So yeah.
You were both there. So Brooke, you went in and was COVID your sophomore
So
year?
COVID was freshman year, so I had a normal semester, and then my second semester freshman year was COVID.
Gotcha.
And then all of sophomore year, I lived on campus in the apartments, but we still took Zoom classes.
Hmm.
And that's when Glenn popped in,
Mm.
and yeah, it was the Wild West back then. But then it was normal junior and senior year.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Well, is there anything else you guys want to? Oh, I wanted to ask you because you are the first two that I'm interviewing that are actually alum. I've been talking to students who are current in schools. So let's take a little bit of time and tell us about the transition. Like, how do you feel you were prepared by Buffalo at the time to go out and transition into working in this industry and, you know, living and all that?
Mhm. So what a lot of people who graduated from UB what I've seen them do is they stay in Buffalo for like a year or two, get some stuff on their resume, um, but because it's a lot less competitive than going straight to New York City and trying to audition.
Mhm.
So that's what I did. I stayed in Buffalo for a little bit, did smaller local productions. And then since then, I've worked at Legoland. I've been working with the Rev Theater, doing some children's theater.
And
Um,
you're currently in a contract with them doing children's
yes,
theater.
it is true. I'll be back at the Rev very shortly. Um, I definitely was taught by UB to be ready to take any job. So I've done voice lessons, I've choreographed, I've directed for younger kids. So I do feel like UB was good at training me to be like a multitask tool. I
Yeah.
can fit into different blocks. Um, I've done spotlighting for different shows, just a bunch of different random
I still
jobs. So I've been able to like live off of theater, and that's all I could ever ask for. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's great. And Glenn,
Yeah, I did the same as Brooke. It was my spring semester of my senior year is when I got a lot of Buffalo theater is cast in advance. So Newsies was happening in September, and I was casting it in April. And the director who was directing our spring musical was a guest director, and he was the one who was also directing Newsies. So he called me back because we were in rehearsals together. So he brought me into that room.
very nice.
I did the thing. It was very fun to put connections to work. So I did that. I think every other month, the year following graduating, I did a professional show. So that was very fun, and it's very crazy. It was kind of really good training for having a job at the same time because I was saving up to move to New York City. So I would work in the morning and then I worked at a preschool, so I could work from like 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the night. But uh that's what I did with that. Setting up for professional work outside. I know a lot of my peers from the get-go in junior year were really on on the ball with submissions and reels and resume work and getting the reel. I think I said reels. I'll say it again.
Mhm.
So important. You have a dance and a singing reel, so there are two. So they were very, very good. I was less so. I think I had a mental block. I was more apprehensive. I think I'll use the word scared. If this is a safe enough space, I was like, oh gosh, because once you really are pursuing it, you are really pursuing it, and there is no way to hide behind the fact that you are putting yourself into it. So I think I've grown my mindset toward doing it and being much more optimistic about it. So that is a thing because I could work so much right after school, I was less on the ball for professional things that would set me up professionally in New York City. So now that I am in New York City, I feel very confident as a performer who is doing the job. And I feel that I'm working right now on all of the stuff that goes into getting the job.
I
So
love,
it
yeah,
is, I learned a lot of the tools in the workshop class and then I put them off on another table because I was like, but I'm a performer now. I've got the gig. So now the doing the work before the gig is what I'm continuing to work on post grad. And do you ever stop learning? I don't think so. So.
no. I love that. Thank you for that. And so now you have moved to the city.
Mhm.
And how do your days look now? Because we are at the beginning of the big audition season.
We are my it's actually funny because I some crazy business drama happened and I've been sidelined from my sublet. So now I do spend the bulk of my time in Fishkill. So it is I'll tell you the time leading up to it, all of these past 6 or 7 months, acclimating to what it is like to be in New York City, was very, very interesting. I nearly burned myself out because I was going to so many different open mics and the this is and that's and getting a job and being a nanny. So it was a bunch of different things. I think the best thing is you. One time I was on the subway and I was listening to 110 in the Shade and someone saw it on my phone, and we talked about 110 in the Shade for 40 minutes on the train ride home, and it was like I'm in a city of people that care about the thing I care about, which was cool, but I'm kind of tearing. I feel excited to go into audition rooms now because it is not a room full of sharks, it is a room full of friends. So
Mhm.
I am more optimistic about going to a dance class because I'm like, are these people going to tap their feet when Legally Blonde comes on? I think so. So I'm going to be in a couple of people I'm cool with. So that is a thing I'm happy to have learned, and I have less reason to be scared because I know that people are more often going to smile at you than make a mean face at you. So
That's great. And so through the whole process of school and like you said, I love the idea that you said that you were getting a lot of performance in your time there, so you weren't thinking about the steps necessary to when that kind of ends, but you really were prepared because in the end you just transitioned and were like, all right, well, now I got to do this.
that's right.
So that's great. Well, anything else you guys want to add about your SUNY Buffalo or your experiences before we wrap it up?
I forgot to mention that we have a guest director every year that
Love that.
it can be, I mean, anyone that they reach out to, I guess. And people are really able to make good connections from those guest directors. We've had so many people get hired professionally because that guest director came in and loved them and just wanted to hire them again. So that was
Yeah,
nice too.
that's always a really a great thing that programs do that because it's allowing obviously students to network outside the school and
Yeah.
use those connections. So that's great. Do you guys have a new work program on there? Do they have they kind of dive and that could be in the new material, but I didn't see it.
I I don't think we do. I think we it's kind of it's we're in a weird spot right now because actually one new musical was presented at a student directed series last year, but it was a musical written by a student. But that is also to say there's a composer in Buffalo named Drew Fornarola who he directs a lot of concerts in Buffalo. That is, it's they star Broadway people. It's called Starring Buffalo. You can look that up, whatever. But he also works. He did the Tiananmen Square musical at the Phoenix Theater Company in Arizona last year. He did the off-Broadway run of the Ghost of John McCain.
Hmm.
Yes, that's what it
So
was.
he is a person who we have had come in often, very often. So I think that new work material, like him
Hmm.
presenting material on students, is something that is likely uh,
Yeah.
someone. Jeremy Myers he just did his cabaret in the city. So yeah,
Hmm.
that is a thing that
We also, sorry, we did a workshop of a new musical, Gloriana.
yeah, we did do that. Sorry.
So it was kind of random. It wasn't like
Yeah.
you're always gonna get a new work.
Right.
But like we got to work on a new musical, which is so cool.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it's something that each program needs. It, maybe not happen every year, but it's really great in your 4 years to experience that and put that together with a new composer, a new work, new book. It's great.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, well, I thank you guys so much for talking with us tonight. And I think we learned a lot about the program, and I'm going to be really happy to share it with future students who are looking into Buffalo. So thank you so much. And it was good to see you guys again.
So good to see your faces. I miss
Oh,
you both.
I'm wishing you the best, and I will keep an eye out for when you are performing. Cheer you on. All right. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. So long,
All
everybody.
right. Bye.